If homework in your house turns into a daily battle, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Maybe it starts with something simple like, hey, did you finish your homework? And suddenly you're met with eye rolls, frustration, shutdown, even tears. And what should be a 20-minute assignment becomes a 90-minute emotional standoff. And if you're a homeschool parent like I am, this might show up a little differently. Maybe it's during a independent work or a writing assignment or subjects that your child just keeps avoiding. But the tension can feel exactly the same. And somewhere in the middle of it, you find yourself wondering, why is this so hard? Why can't they just do it? Am I doing something wrong as a parent? But here's the truth that most people won't tell you. Homework battles are rarely about homework, about the assignment itself. They're usually about control, overwhelm, and hidden learning gaps. So today, I'm going to walk you through why these battles happen, what actually makes them worse, and a simple reset framework that helps parents reduce conflict while still keeping expectations. And if you're parenting a middle schooler who struggles with motivation, organization, or confidence, this is going to make a huge difference. Hey, I'm Krista Copel with Engaged Communication Co., and I'm a former classroom teacher, now homeschooling mom, and I help parents support struggling middle schoolers so that they can build confidence, independence, and strong literacy and study skills. The middle years are a turning point where kids are suddenly expected to manage multiple assignments, higher reading and writing expectations, and independent study habits. But many kids haven't actually been taught these skills to manage this yet. And that's where the homework battles often begin. But before we fix the problem, we actually have to understand what's really causing it. Because if we misdiagnose the issue, we keep repeating the same arguments over and over and over again, which is probably happening in your home too. So let's talk about 3 common reasons these breakdowns are happening. The first is about autonomy versus control. Middle school is when kids are starting to crave more independence. They want to feel capable. They want to be in charge of their own lives. And this is natural. This is normal. This is actually really important. But homework often feels like constant supervision on the part of us as parents, right? We're constantly in there checking. If they're in school, the teachers are assigning. There's deadlines everywhere. Those expectations are super high. So when we say to them, go do your homework or go finish that assignment, some kids actually hear, hey, you're not responsible enough to actually manage your work. So the result of that is they push back. Not necessarily because they don't care, but because they're trying to protect their sense of autonomy, who they are, and their ability to manage things on their own. The second reason is overwhelm. Middle school workloads can feel huge for kids who struggle with executive functioning and organization. So instead of seeing 3 small tasks, maybe listed in order, they see a huge mountain. And so what happens? They freeze. They avoid. They shut down. They maybe say, I don't actually have homework. Not because they're lazy, but because their brain is saying, this feels too big. I don't know where to start. The third reason is hidden learning gaps. And this one is one that parents often don't want to hear about, or they don't hear enough. Sometimes homework battles happen because the work is just simply too hard for them. Because if a child is struggling with reading comprehension, with writing, with vocabulary, with note-taking, then homework can feel like a public proof that they're actually behind. And kids will often avoid work that makes them feel embarrassed, frustrated, or incapable. So instead of saying, I don't understand this, kids at this age will start saying, oh, this is stupid, or I'm not doing it. And I also want to say something to homeschool parents watching, because homework battles can show up in homeschooling too. They just might look a little bit different. Maybe instead of evening homework time, the tension happens during your independent work time. Your writing assignments, those subjects, again, that your child maybe finds challenging. The root issue is usually underneath it, and that's overwhelm, that's developing executive functioning skills, and work that just feels too difficult. One of the advantages of homeschooling, though, is that you have the ability and the flexibility to adjust pacing. You can break your assignments down into smaller steps. You can build systems in that help your child just gradually take more ownership of their own work. So if the independent work is becoming a struggle in your homeschool day, and these same reset principles will still apply. Give them a clear structure, calm expectations, and a support system that reduces pressure while building confidence. So let's dive into what we can actually do as parents to help our kids with their assignments or with their homework. Once we understand the root issues, we can change how we respond to them. What most families try to do is first add more pressure, more reminders, more lectures, more consequences. But pressure can often increase resistance. And so instead, I recommend what I call the homework reset framework. So there's 3 pieces to this framework. Step 1 is to separate structure from emotion. When homework battles happen, emotion and structure can get tangled in together. The parent becomes the enforcer and the child becomes the resistor. And every conversation carries frustration. Instead, we want homework to become a system, not a power struggle. So for example, instead of saying, "Did you do your homework yet?" you might say, "Hey, what's your homework plan for tonight?" This small shift moves the responsibility back onto the child. And again, that's what they need for their developing autonomy. Step 2, we need to have clear expectations and a calm delivery. Kids actually do better when expectations are predictable and calm. So for example, a simple structure might be homework happens after a snack, before screens, and at the same workspace every single day. When routines are consistent, parents then don't need to police things constantly. You're just reinforcing the system. And again, a calm delivery really matters. So not saying, "Hey, why haven't you started yet?" But, "Hey, it looks like it's homework time." That small shift can make a huge difference. Step 3, you want to reduce lectures and increase systems. Lectures happen usually because we're feeling worried. We want to intervene. We want to give our best advice. We want to scoop in and help them while we can. But these lectures often trigger shutdown. So systems reduce the need for those lectures. So what do I mean by that? Well, some examples might include maybe a homework checklist. You could even get a laminated one if there's regular things that they need to do every day, or a notepad where they're keeping track, a daily assignment tracker of where they're at in the assignment and being able to check off all the steps as they go along, which brings us to the next point of being able to break down the work into smaller steps. If there's an assignment that's due in 2 weeks, don't wait for the night before to get it finished. Chunk it up over the next 2 weeks so that they're working on it a little bit every single day. And use timers for focus work sessions. I really love visual timers where they can see, and start with small chunks, just 10 or 15 minutes, and then let them get up and do a 5-minute break. That's really going to help their endurance to get the homework assignment done. And instead of repeating these instructions every night, allow the system to carry the load. Those expectations are clear. They're going to know exactly what they need to do. And that reduces conflict dramatically. So let's talk about what actually to say in those tricky moments. And let me assure you, they're still going to happen. Even with an excellent framework and a system in place, we're going to still encounter conflicts when it comes to schoolwork and homework with our middle schooler. But knowing what to say is so important because not only what we say, but how we say it really matters. Our wording and our tone can either escalate tension or it can diffuse it altogether. So, for example, if your child comes and says, I don't have any homework, instead of coming back at them with, well, I know that's not true, try instead saying, okay, well, let's just check the planner together just to be sure. It's neutral, it's calm, and we're not accusing them of anything. And having that system in place of a daily planner where they keep track of everything allows that to be a place where they can keep coming back to. Maybe a second scenario is that your child just completely shuts down. They're not doing it. They're refusing. Instead of saying, you need to stop being dramatic, just finish your work. Try this instead. Maybe say, it looks like this is feeling frustrating, or I see that you're frustrated. Do you want help getting started, or do you want a 5-minute break? You're acknowledging the feeling that they're having without removing the expectation. And it's really important at this stage to validate what they're feeling because so many middle schoolers feel misunderstood. If they're frustrated, acknowledge it. Don't brush it over, but allow them a chance to reset or to explore why they're feeling frustrated. The third scenario is maybe that your child's just refusing to start. So instead of jumping right to a consequence, hey, if you don't get this done right now, you're grounded or you're losing your screens, try this instead. Let's just pick the smallest piece and start there. Or how about we just set a 10-minute timer and try the first question? I guarantee you that a small win will dramatically reduce overwhelm. And when they see that they can finish just one thing, they're more likely to come back and try second and try third. And remember, if it's a major assignment, don't try and get it all done at once. Break it up into those chunks, use that visual timer that I recommended, and it's gonna go a lot faster and a lot smoother without the overwhelm. Listen, if homework battles are happening in your house, it doesn't mean that your child is lazy. It doesn't mean that you are doing parenting wrong or that they're doomed academically. It just usually means that more structure, more skill building, and more support is needed. And those are things that we absolutely can build. So if this is something that your family is struggling with, this is the exact reason why I created my course, The Middle Years Reset. It's an empowered parent's guide to supporting struggling learners. And inside this course, we go way deeper into creating homework systems, reducing parent and child power struggles, understanding what's actually happening in the middle years, building executive functioning skills and what that actually is, and also supporting literacy and learning gaps. Inside, we also have a community where parents can connect and share what's working in their homes or ask questions. I'll leave the link below if you'd like to learn more. The middle years can be a challenging transition for both kids and parents, and we often feel like it's just something we need to get through, just something we need to survive. But with the right tools and mindset shifts, this stage can actually become a really powerful turning point for both confidence and independence. And you and your child don't need to feel like you just need to survive it. You can actually thrive through it. So if this video has helped you at all, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Also share it with a friend and let me know in the comments what part of homework feels hardest in your home right now. I'd love to help.